All right, guys, I know I'm letting you down. I'm a little bit slow on the videos right now. This is going to be a really short one, but I got to talk about this today. I got to get it out to you, even with Easter and everything going on. We got a quick break between everything we're doing. We're going to talk about this right here in just a second. Bear down with me. Let's go. All right, one of the main reasons I started this channel was to get outside of that perspective of the talking heads of your mainstream media just giving you pound after pound after pound of all the same takes. And I've been watching this for the last couple days, but I've been really busy with some family stuff with Easter and everything going on. So I apologize right before the draft. I'm going to have a ton next week for you guys. I promise there will be a ton coming up. Posted this on Twitter earlier today, right here, about Kelvin Banks. That's the big news. Everyone talking about Kelvin Banks. Then there's rumors the Bears did a personal workout with him in Texas, that the Bears brought him in for a top 30. I can't find anything to substantiate that, but Kelvin Banks' stock is on the rise. There's no doubt about that. Everyone's talking about him. Well, we know from places like the Beast article that I highly respect, Dane Brugler, he had him as a late first round prospect and the second best guard in this draft. Not tackle, guard. But now you hear the talking heads, and that's what they do. They take information, they pump it, they run with it, they get clicks, they do it. Kelvin Banks to me is not a top tackle in this class. This is a tackle class that's being overhyped, just like Ashton Genty to me. You guys, you know my stance, and I'm not doing that to poke or create more chaos there. You know how I feel about it. That's the same thing with these tackles. They're being overhyped because of need, because of how weak this draft class is. Well, there are some clear teams that need tackle more than us. We know we have Braxton Jones. We know we have Karan Amagachi. We know we have those things. Should we get more help there to compete and develop with? Absolutely. We don't have a right tackle. One of those guys needs to shift to right tackle, but drafting a tackle in this draft class to me is something that we probably will do. There's some really good options later on that I have. North Carolina State tackle. I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head because I'm spacing it. Anthony Belton, and then Holland Pierce, I really like from Rutgers. We know we brought Ozzie Trapillo in. There's some good options that are not, hey, we have to start you day one, but we can develop you type of guys. I like that. But there are some teams that need offensive tackle. And with the Saints likely taking tackle at number 9, that means your main two are probably going to be off the board by the time 9 hits. You're going to have Will Campbell go at the top, probably to the Patriots. You're going to have Armand Membu either go to the Jets or to the Saints. If the Jets take him, which I don't think they will, I think the Jets are going to try to build that offense a little, or the playmakers a little bit more. I do think they're going Tyler Warren. If you're asking me today, I think that's what they're doing. Anything can happen, and I'm going to do a whole video on that next week about how things change with where we have them projected, and show last year's how they projected and how they looked when all was said and done. But if we're sitting there and Kelvin Banks, sorry, I didn't turn my phone on silent. Boom, boom, boom. If Kelvin Banks is sitting there at 10, the Niners need a tackle. The Dolphins need a tackle. The Seahawks need a tackle. The Texans need a tackle. The Chiefs need a tackle. Now, we know Ryan Poles doesn't love to do crazy, huge things if he's got his eyes on some guys. We traded down from 9 to 10 to let someone have Jalen Carter. Same situation. If we're sitting there at 10 and the Niners want Kelvin Banks at 11 because this hype has gotten out of control, and we know Kelvin Banks met with the Niners. We also know Kelvin Banks met with the Dolphins. He also met with the Seahawks. These guys are interested in him. If they're interested, this is not a huge overpay, but it is a slight overpay. It's probably fair to do 113 and 398 to move down from 10 to 13. It's probably fair. 116 is not that valuable. You add that little, I keep saying kicker, but you guys think I mean like kicker as in a field goal kicker. Sweetener. Add the sweetener in a 116 because the Dolphins have quite a few mid-round picks right there. They're not having to give up their second-round pick for this, but they can move up ahead of the Niners and all these other guys trying to vie for it. And hey, if the Seahawks give us a haul, give us their second and third, or second and next year's second, to move up from 18 to 10, use this perceived value of a player. I've said the same things with Ashton Genty. If he falls to 10, use that perceived value to let someone come in and trade for him. Let them do that and build this team the proper way. I know I've got a reputation for being the trade down guy. To trade down, I'm really sorry about that. To trade down instead of taking but there's not a blue chip player sitting there at 10. And no, I do not believe Ashton Genty is blue chip. And no, I don't believe Tyler Warren is blue chip. And no, I don't believe Kelvin Banks is blue chip. If I can poke holes in them, I don't believe they're blue chip. And I have shown that I can poke holes in Ashton Genty. Kelvin Banks lunges way too much. I mentioned that on a previous video. I'm not going to go through the entire breakdown of him again. He's a solid big body guy who could have a good future in the NFL. Lunges way too much. Same issue you see with Braxton Jones. If you don't want Braxton Jones 2.0, you've already got Braxton Jones. Then develop someone different. Let somebody else, let the Niners, let the Dolphins, let the Seahawks take him. I just think this is lying season, and we have to remember that. Just because you see the Chicago talking heads and you see Kyle Long, I'm trying to think of all the former NFL players that said we should take Kelvin Banks. All these guys say that we should take Kelvin Banks doesn't mean it changes my perception of where I have already had him pre-draft ranked as a late first rounder. I don't see it. I think most people saw him as a late first rounder too. But if there are teams that brought him in for a top 30, like the Niners, like the Dolphins, like the Seahawks, these guys really want him, let them trade up for him. Let the Dolphins come up ahead of the Niners to get their guy and overpay. Give us a 398 and a 4-116. That comp pick third rounder, that fourth rounder are both very valuable to the Bears this year in this class. That could be a tight end. That could be a safety. That could be a linebacker. All positions that we need that you don't want us to overreach for at 110 or 239 or 241 or 372. We need to fill an offensive lineman. We need to fill a defensive tackle. We need to fill a defensive end, and we need to fill a running back. Those should be our first 4 picks. Getting that extra 398 and 4-116 could be a safety, could be a wide receiver. We've seen them bringing lots of wide receivers in. It could help develop this draft the way that we've wanted it to go. So, quick snippet. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Sorry for the chirping bird of my phone. I forgot to turn it off before I started this thing, but I want to get this thing out today because I really feel like with lying season, we get sucked into it way too much. Nothing's changed. It didn't change. Kelvin Banks didn't play games between a month ago to now. Things didn't change. Just my tidbit on it, my piece. Said what I said. I'll have more for you next week. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate you being a part of this, being a part of the channel. If you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, if you haven't done so, don't mind hitting that like button. Hit the notifications. Till next time, the Bears and bear down.